exciting week, a little different doing this press conference after having 2 practices already in preparation for the game Thursday night. From our standpoint, really the type of game we would like to be playing every year, where you get an opportunity in the last game of the season to play another team that's having a great season of their own, an opportunity to go to a BCS bowl game. I know we're closing in on a sellout. I know there's some tickets still left, but it should be a tremendous atmosphere Thursday night in High Point Solutions Stadium. And we have a great opponent coming to town. Louisville's got an excellent football team, led by Charlie Strong, who was one of the architects of the Florida National Championship teams, and really one of the leaders of a staff that I once heard Urban Meyer say himself he thought would go down in history as one of the great staffs in college football history. So it's quite a compliment to Charlie being the defensive coordinator on that staff, and certainly his reputation preceded him before that, even at South Carolina. So he's been coaching good football and good defense for a long time, and has had a lot of success at Louisville as a head coach. And his team plays with the kind of passion that he coaches with. I think defensively they run very well. They're very thick in the middle of their defense with their 2 inside tackles and their middle linebacker, and they've got good speed at the defensive end positions. And really offensively they've got a lot of weapons, but I think it really begins with Teddy Bridgewater, and he is one of the premier offensive players in our conference. And having been on offense last year, he certainly was not a guy that I was studying because it wasn't my job to, but as I started to look at him this week, I was really impressed with the accuracy with which he throws the football. And he's very comfortable in the pocket, does a great job stepping up, but even when he has to move, he's got a tremendous ability to deliver the ball in accurate places, sometimes across his body, sometimes really outcuts to the field, from the opposite hash. So he's got excellent arm strength, great accuracy. He really is the total package at quarterback, and I know he got banged up a little bit late in the game last week against UConn, but I would fully expect him to play. He went back in the game, and even if he didn't play, their backup quarterback, number 4, is a senior and an excellent football player. I believe he played against us a couple of years ago, and sure enough, he comes in the game. In the first play he was in the game, he delivered a fade route that was really inches from being completed in the end zone in the overtime. So they'll have a very capable guy behind center, regardless of who it is. They lost their starting running backs, Norris Perry, and now number 28 has 164 carries, averaging 4.5 yards a carry, 9 touchdowns. They really haven't even skipped a beat at the running back position. So this is a complete football team coming to town this week. I think their record displays that. We're very excited about it, and we're looking forward to it. It should be a great atmosphere. And with that, I would open it up for questions.
Kyle, what do you remember about the 2006 game?
2006 game?
Yeah, against Louisville.
Well, I remember it being a very close game with a lot of talented football players on the field. I think if you went back and you looked at both teams and projected those guys into their professional careers, you'd see quite a few of them, made an impact even in the NFL. So it was certainly a great night for college football in general, and we were excited to come out on top.
I like the rookie. I'll use the microphone. Charlie said today that Teddy Bridgewater would play, but obviously last week he fractured his left wrist, non-throwing wrist. He's got the ankle issue. How much will you or your assistants in the booth look for any tells to see if he's limited, if he's favoring something, and how might that impact the way you attack him defensively?
I think you definitely look at it. It's certainly a player who's going to have the ball in his hand as much as he is, and I think you have to always game plan for what you see on film, and you have to be ready for everything, because we won't really know until we get into the game what his status is, and we know he's regardless of his status in the game, he'll be a very dangerous football player. But I think as you get into the game, if you find that he's a little less mobile, probably means they won't run him as much, and possibly your play calling could change a little bit defensively.
Kyle, how important is the first BCS trip for program building, for recruiting, for exposure nationally, to get that first trip?
I think everything helps. I think when we went to the first bowl game in 2005, that helped. I think when we had really the first 10-plus win season in 2006 and won our first bowl game, I think that helped. I think going to 5 straight bowl games helps. I think winning your first Big East title this year, that will help. I think all those steps along the way help you build on what you talk to players about in recruiting, is that we want to play for championships every year.
Kyle, everybody always says there's no replacement for experience. Having gone through this for the first time yourself as a head coach, who do you lean to, or who are some of the people that help you through this part and what to look for in games like this?
The people I lean on the most are the people in this building, because that's who I'm with the most. And I'm fortunate that the 9 assistant coaches on the staff, they've been tremendous. And as you guys know, maybe I'm not sure the casual fan always knows, but we spent a lot of time together from the beginning of August through really the end of the season. And to have 2 coaches on the staff, in Norris Wilson and Dave Cohen, former head coaches, to have somebody like Fred Mariani, our director of player development, who's a former head coach, I think all those things help. Plus certainly Dave Brock was an assistant head coach. Rob Smith at other places has had a lot of involvement in the game management. So I think all those things really help. And having the ability to talk to Greg during the season, and that's hard sometimes because we're on different schedules, we play on different days, and we're both very busy. But I've had multiple conversations with Greg throughout the year that have been very helpful. And then my high school coach has been very helpful. And he's been somebody that I've always leaned on really throughout my entire career.
Just to follow up, you talked to Greg this week, and what has been his most recent advice throughout this entire season?
I have not spoke to him this week. I think the last time I spoke to him was probably about 10 days ago. And really we talked more about things in general than anything specific. But I think throughout the year he's certainly been an encouraging voice for me.
At that guard position, you plan on maybe switching Alexander and Watkins? Is it going to be a game time decision?
Taj will start the game, and then we'll go from there. We don't have any plans right now for a rotation.
Kyle, is there any temptation with the last game of the season, everything at stake, to coach this game a little differently, or do you have to avoid that temptation?
I think you got to block all that out. The thing we talk and we preach to the players is we need to approach this game the exact same way we approach the first 11 games, and do everything we can to prepare, practice as well as we can, execute our offense. I think to do things outside of your personality is very dangerous in a game like this, and I think lesser experienced players might be more prone to that. But I think when you get into a game like this, you got to really lean on your older players, established players, guys that have been there before. Unfortunately for us, this will be the second Thursday night game of the year that we've played, so that the players on the team are familiar with the format, with the atmosphere. It's always, like as we said before, it's like the Monday Night Football of college football. Thursday night, you're the only game in town, and everybody's watching. The number 1 TV crew is here, the cameras are there, so it is a little bit of a different experience for the players when they come out. And the ones that have been through it before, and we have quite a few of those, they're the ones you really have to lean on in these games.
Kyle, with it being senior night, how do you make sure those guys keep their emotions in check and it doesn't affect them to start the game?
I think they understand that senior night is really an opportunity for us to show them how much we appreciate what they and their families have sacrificed for our program. And we do it briefly in the beginning of the game, and then we get on with the business of the game. But I do think it's important to do, because these players and these families, they pour a lot of their lives into Rutgers football for 4 or 5 years, and I think they deserve that moment out there on the field to be recognized. But at that point, the players know. When the ball's kicked off, there's no thoughts of senior night or anything like that. The only thought is really of just trying to be 1-0 Thursday night.
Kyle, when you look at your offense, do you term it as conservative this season, or what's the best way? How do you describe the offensive philosophy?
I don't. I'm not concerned with really describing it, to be honest with you. We're a pro-style offense with an emphasis on running the football to create one-on-ones in the passing game. And other than that, we're really conservative, spread, aggressive. We are going to attack on offense in every game. Unfortunately, if you don't execute, it doesn't look very good. And last Saturday we didn't have enough plays really to get much done, and that's unfortunate. But we're 2 practices already beyond that, and we're working on the new game plan.
Kyle, Juwan says that his ankle feels fine, but it's more of a mental thing right now. Can you simulate that, or is it just really get into the game and do it first before he's okay?
I think Juwan's going to be ready to go Thursday night.
To come as close as you are right now to that BCS bid, would the season be a disappointment in your mind if you don't get it?
To me, I judge success much more on the effort of the football team and their attention to detail than anything else. If the only way you judge success as a coach is by the scoreboard, or by reaching the ultimate goal, you have a lot of seasons where the players feel like they didn't accomplish anything. I think our goal this week is to be 1-0. At the end of this week, we'll assess the season and see where we are. We know we've accomplished some things already that have never been done here. So could you say there have already been some successes of the season? Sure you could, but I think those conversations are best left for the end of the season, where you can look at the complete body of work over 12 games and then really say, okay, what were we able to accomplish this year? But this is a very special group of young people. They've worked tremendously hard in a very different environment than any other team I've been around, where you have a new head coach and 9 new assistant coaches. And I'll say 9 because Rob Smith is in a different role than he was last year. And to really take to those coaches and have the success they've had this year, I think is a testament to how badly they wanted it.
Coach, how important have Jones and Cooper been to the defense this year?
Extremely important. Extremely. To have 2 seniors at the corner position with their just physical attributes, size, strength, etc. They're very valuable. They do a lot of things for us in special teams as well, provide leadership. They're excellent football players for us, both of them.
Kyle, what did you see out of the team Sunday and today that told you that they're already past Pittsburgh and focused on Louisville? What kind of things did you look at, per se?
I saw a team that was very attentive in the meetings, and then we went out and we practiced, albeit with no equipment on, but we went out and we had a practice to run through the beginning stages of the game plan. But probably the most impressive thing I saw was after that, how many players were still in here watching film when we got done. And the coaches went back to the game plan, just took a walk down here by the meeting rooms, and we had players in every meeting room that were getting ready, for this game the way they do every other week, except they didn't have the day off. They didn't have any of the other time available to them, so they stayed after practice Sunday night to do that. So that told me we were in the right frame of mind.
Kyle, Nick Borghese needs to have a Jeremy Ito moment. Are you confident that he'll kick the field?
Oh, I have tremendous confidence in Nick. He's done everything we've asked him to since we put him in, and Jeremy Ito moments, they don't come around very often. But whatever the situation is in the game, we'll have confidence Nick can go out there and execute for us.
Kyle, given the stakes, have you ever coached or played in a game of this magnitude? Can you compare it to anything?
I have. I've been fortunate. I've been very fortunate to be around quite a few teams that have had the opportunity to go into the postseason. And for every team, when you get to that final game, it's tremendously important to win. I could go all the way back to 1996 at CW Post, and we're playing in the ECAC bowl game against Bentley, and that was our Super Bowl. That was everything to us, and we win the game. Or 2003 at the University of Delaware, we're playing for the national championship. We're 14-1, and we're playing Colgate for the national championship, and we win the game 40-0. That was everything to that coaching staff and those players. And I think this game, because the focus is on the game and on the schematics and on the players, we're certainly not naive to what the result of the game will dictate for either team. It's a big game. It's the kind of game that you want to be in as a player and as a coach. And it's the kind of game as a program that we hope to be in every year.